This lesson is worth $100. From the Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, a lesson on wealth through work, wisdom, and will. Whenever he got an idea or task, he used what was available to him and quickly. He also went after it immediately and carried it to completion or as far as he could take it. He was a genius, or something like intuition is what he used. He used it excuse me, he used his genius or something like intuition. He acted upon it. He stayed with the same occupation for a long time and used it throughout different aspects of his life. He was a diplomatic. He paid his debts and was adamant about it. He brought that same energy to others and encouraged everyone to pay their debts. He was just a normal guy from what I gathered after listening to the audiobook. For someone whose face is on the $100 bill, I thought his life story would be more epic and grandiose, but it makes sense. Some of the richest and wealthiest people live simple and normal lives. So I really enjoyed this autobiography because I also listened to a couple of other things from Benjamin Franklin, and from those, I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. So one thing I think he's known for is inventing or establishing libraries, fire departments, and like certain communal centers that are pivotal to the American establishment. I believe he was in the room when they signed the Declaration of Independence. I should know that. I need to look up my history on that. And yeah, like I mentioned in the notes that I took, for someone who's on the $100 bill, and all these people, all these rappers and musicians, they're talking about it's all about the Benjamins. There's a movie called It's All About the Benjamins, and you got people who are like, I need the Franklins, and it's like this guy is on the $100 bill, and it's like when you listen to his autobiography, it could just be a reflection of me, honestly. But he's on the $100 bill, and when you listen to his autobiography or read it, he lived such a simple life. And that's one thing I've noticed about some of the wealthiest people in America and on this globe, really. I mean, there's a time and place where you turn up. At the same time, when I listen to some of these people or look into some of these people's lives, it's like they wear simple clothes, they live simply. It's just they do one thing really, really well, and they happen to do things in a certain way. And one thing I've noticed from Benjamin Franklin is, and this is one thing I admired from the autobiography, is whenever he got a task from someone, like whenever someone asked him to do something, he he almost didn't hesitate. He gave it some thought. He would like think about it, and he would like kind of formulate and coagulate and kind of think about ways he could like make it happen, and something would click. And then he would immediately go into like whatever job or occupation he had at the time, and he used what was available to him. And so he carried that task all the way out to completion, or he carried it as far as he could take it. And I think that's something that I'm starting to do for myself too. Like whenever my parents ask me to do something, or whenever asked to do something at work, or whenever I'm scrolling on social media, for example, and like someone is like, "Oh, I wish there was a way to do XYZ, to do XYZ," I will think about it. How can I do this? And then I'll try my best to carry that out into completion. And then something that I'm getting better at is handling my debts. And that's something that Benjamin Franklin was super adamant about when I read this autobiography or when I listened to the audiobook. He was very adamant about paying his debts. Whenever there was a debt that he had, that was like, he had like one or two things he would focus on in his life. He would focus on the debt, and then like I guess whatever he was doing in the background to like, live his life or, to advance life forward. And that's something that I'm starting to get very much adamant about and very much aggressive with is handling my debts. For example, on your car note, insurance, student loans, whatever other bills you have, like you want to look at your interest rate and you can use chat gpt now, or you can calculate how much your interest rate is on top of your monthly payments or yearly payments or whatever. And as long as you're making more than that payment on top of your interest, you're beating the system. And it's really a great thing when you can put that into perspective. And I'm grateful for people like Benjamin Franklin who kind of lived the way he did. And one of the better quotes of his life that I've learned to live by also is, if you want something in life, as far as like money goes, you can either make more of it or cut your expenses, and you should be doing both. And this is something we can talk about in another video, but like something as far as like lifestyle lag starts to happen when you do that, when you put your ego aside and you start to cut expenses and leave and live, I don't want to say cheaply, but you start to live humbly. And this is something I've noticed, like what wealthy people do is like, instead of buying like, and I'll leave on this last point, instead of buying like the $50 coat, why not just keep buying $5 coats? I mean, as long as you don't want to buy anything cheap, because like, you want good quality stuff, but just as an example, and you keep living off of like, lower and lower expenses, keep living below your means, eventually like, things are going to build up in the background to where like it'll just make sense for you to like buy a $15,000 steak instead of buying like $100 steak. At some point it's just going to make sense because you have so much money coming in. Now from that point on, I guess it is on you if you want to keep buying the $100 steaks. And there is a world for that. And at the same time, it's like, it just makes sense. Like, you do this lifestyle lag thing where like you've built up so much money, so much wealth, and whatever else comes along with it, that like whatever trails behind it, it just kind of makes sense for you to like spend a little bit extra on the coat, drive the car, ride in the automobile, book that flight, and you start to live in a way where it's like it just makes sense for you to upgrade your life. We have these things on earth for a reason, and yeah, I'm thankful for people like Benjamin Franklin who helped us understand this kind of thing. And I hope you enjoyed this reflection.